Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode number 3 of this Empowering with Awareness podcast. And as I promised, this is going to be part 2 of the topic, what do narcissists and empaths have in common? As I explained in the last episode, narcissists and empaths vibrate the same frequencies, and this is why they attract each other. And I wanted to share with you that I received some feedback about this, and I can understand that for some empaths, it's really hard to believe that this is possible. It is hard to believe and hard to accept that we as empaths have something in common with narcissists. It is hard to accept that we could vibrate similar frequencies, and when I say this, I don't mean that there are similarities in our personalities. This is not what I'm saying. Again, remember that I only speak about energy, frequencies, vibrations. And I really would like you to open your mind. When you listen to this, try to detach from the judgmental mindset that we have. Try to detach from your ego, who tells you that you are a victim of narcissists. And try to have that divine point of view. Try to put yourself on that divine point of view. Be open to receive different information regarding your relationship with narcissists. And again, I am not here to defend them. This is not my work. I am here to show you the energetical reason why you attract them. And when you understand this, that inner work that you need to get done to stop attracting them, it simply starts. This is so important. All this information helps us to understand how these frequencies, how this energy works, to be able to stop attracting them. So today, we're going to speak about the upbringing that narcissists and empaths have. And guys, again, this is key. I did a few weeks ago, and people really liked it. And I was talking about the roles. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Because we are all raised by a toxic parent, and we are all different from the personality point of view. We are different due to the role that parent gave us. These roles can change during life. I don't want you to think that the role that your parent gave you is going to stay forever. No, it could be changed. And I have experienced that change, okay? So there are many roles given by the toxic parent. Well, we're going to discuss only 3 of them, which are the main ones, okay? So what happens is that often children will be switched into different roles throughout their lives, depending on how the narcissist parent feels about them at a particular point, okay? So in any case, each member is conditioned to feel the needs of the narcissist parent, okay? So the narcissist parents, they mold their children into what they feel they should be, rather than allowing the children to grow into their own people. So what happens is that the children are made to serve the needs of the narcissist parent, rather than the other way around, which is the right way that it should be, right? So because of this, the children are often underdeveloped in things like communication, self-respect, self-esteem, emotional maturity, and a lot of social and interpersonal skills when they grow as adults. So let's talk about these roles. So there are 3 main roles. The first one we're going to discuss is the golden child role, okay? The second one is going to be the scapegoat child role, and the third one, the lost or invisible child role. When a child is given the role of a golden child, the parent is the parent's chosen one. Let's say the golden child is seen as an extension of that narcissist parent. That is exactly what the narcissist parent wants, that the child is exactly the same as him, like a perfect image of himself, okay? So essentially, this means that the golden child is expected to be good at everything, even if those things don't come naturally to them, okay? So never makes mistakes and is always obliged to meet their parents' desires, even if they don't agree with them. So what happens here is that the narcissist wants the child to behave as he says, otherwise he's not going to be perfect, okay? And the golden child feels that pressure from the parent. If they want to continue to receive love and attention and affection, they have to continue to achieve and behave in a way that the parents dictate. So being the golden child in a family can lead to many long-term issues in relationships, friendships, parenting, work, and general self-love, self-worth, and self-esteem. So this is the typical child that becomes a narcissist. This child is never allowed to be himself or herself. He was raised like this. He was not allowed to be himself. This means that the parents said, okay, if you want to be perfect like me, you have to do what I say. You have to behave the way that I tell you. Not what you feel, but what I say. Otherwise, you're not going to be perfect. And otherwise, if you're not perfect, you are not accepted and loved by me. So what happens in this case is that the narcissist child, that child that becomes a narcissist child, is totally, absolutely disconnected from himself. He doesn't have his own values. He doesn't have his own desires. He only thinks that life is about doing what my parents said that I must do. Okay? There's something that is really important to understand about narcissist people, and is that they only have one point of view about everything, guys. There's no space for a different point of view. Why? This is very, very important. Why? Because they only have one point of view, that is the point of view that was given by their toxic parent. So there's no way that you can make a narcissist have another point of view, another perspective of anything in life. They have just one, and they think that's the real one, that's the truth, and there's no way to change it. And this is the reason why it's so hard for them to understand other people. This is the reason why it's so hard for them to empathize, to be compassionate. Because if you have a different point of view, a different perspective, for them, it doesn't exist. It's not possible. It's a lie. There's no way that could exist a different point of view or theirs. And it's so important that you understand this, because this is the way their mindset works. This is the structure they have in their mind. Just one point of view. And that point of view is not their own point of view. It's not something that they feel. It's the point of view that the toxic parents gave them. You can discuss and argue with a narcissist and try to show this person everything, or try to show this person your own perspective, your own point of view, that you are different, that people are different. You can discuss and argue about this, but they're not going to change, because this is the structure they have in their minds. It's not that they don't want to, they just don't know that other point of views exist, that other perspectives exist, because they don't understand that people are different from them. Okay? It's so important that you understand the mindset that the narcissists have, because it's going to help you stop pushing to convince them about something that is logical for you and for them is not. Okay? Let's go to the scapegoat child role. And life is very different from the scapegoat child. Where the golden child can do no wrong, the scapegoat can do no right. And though only one child at a time can be golden child, some families, they have more than one scapegoat child. So when there are many children, the narcissist child or the golden child is only one. And most of the times, that's going to be a narcissist and the other siblings are going to be empaths, okay? Because only one receives that role, the golden child role, okay? So as I said, these roles can shift all the time. Though. Always remember this, they can shift. And they can shift in childhood. I mean, maybe the first child is raised as a golden child, and then another 2-3 kids come to the family, and then maybe that role is given to the youngest, because I just could change, and then the eldest child becomes a scapegoat child, and then that role of golden child is given to the youngest. So it can change, okay? So the scapegoat child is considered as a bad seed. So she is seen as an inferior person. Her primary job is to carry the shame and the anger of the narcissist parent on her shoulders. She is blamed for everything that goes wrong in the family. And she's never accepted, she's never enough. The narcissist parent is very critical, is very cruel, is very abusive to this child. And of course, she's not only unappreciated, but she's humiliated in front of other family members. They're often called crazy, or they are often called the troublemakers or the black sheep in the family. And that, of course, makes them feel unaccepted, okay? But what happens is that since the scapegoat child is the most trustful, well-meaning, personally sacrificing member of the family, she's constantly getting hurt. All the time. She's never enough. Even if she achieves goals, it's never enough. It's like, oh, your brother did it in a better way, or your sister or your cousin was better than you at this, even though she achieves goals, okay? But the amazing thing is that she remains authentic, no matter how many times she's used and abused by her parent. The narcissist parent sees the scapegoat child as having no needs of her own. Though she's expected to do all the caring, her entire childhood is spent trying to live up to the expectations of the parent. No matter what she does, she is never good enough, as I said. And the amazing thing is that the scapegoat child is the most honest member of the family. This child stays very authentic. He's unable to repress the injustice placed upon her. She's the one most likely to argue, act out, or rebel. Because she is labeled as a troublemaker, whether her behavior is good or bad, this child seeks attention all the time. That could be negative or positive, but it's still attention, okay? So the scapegoat child is doing big efforts to gain admiration from her narcissist parents. Sadly, she never succeeds. She's forever an underachiever or loser. This is the label that the narcissist parent put on her. So the scapegoat child has more freedom than the golden child does because of this way of being very authentic and very honest. Even though she's not accepted, but she keeps being an authentic person. And what happens is that because of her lack of bond with that parent, she has a better chance of physically getting away from him and developing a sense of self. The problem is that the sense of self she manages to develop will not be a positive one, because deep within, she will always feel like an unlovable loser. And what happens in this case, these are the typical empaths, okay? This is the typical unaware empath or insecure empath. And there's something that happens to this person or this child or this adult, and is that they developed the anxious attachment, okay? So they feel they're not loved, even though they're very authentic, they are themselves, and they just do what they want. They still feel no loved, and they keep on looking for that attention and approval for the rest of their lives. if you're an empath and you didn't receive that attention, then you will keep on trying to get that attention the rest of your life from friends, partners, children. You just keep on trying that. You keep on trying to receive that because there's a wound. You were hurt. You were not loved. You felt no loved when you were a child. And you just keep on looking for this, okay? So let's talk now about the invisible child. So the invisible or lost child does not receive any praise or blame from the parent. So he's invisible. This child is treated as he does not exist. He is the forgotten one, the neglected one, the unrecognized one. The narcissist parent is not the least bit interested or aware of this child's needs. She has absolutely no use for him. So what happens in this case is that the basic needs of the invisible child are ignored to varying degrees. She may be sent to school with all her dirty, outdated clothes. Her hair may be a total mess. The parent fails to teach him proper hygiene. It could happen that maybe he doesn't receive adequate medical or dental care. The narcissist parent who want to conceal the abuse may provide just enough care to keep others from noticing the neglect. This is something that you can see. Maybe you remember from school, there was always a child that was not in very good condition, and this is because of the neglected way that he was raised. Because the invisible child is treated as if he's nobody, because this is what they feel, and this is the way that they are raised, like being nobody, he expects nothing, or they don't ask for anything. He's the quiet sibling in the family because no one is listening anyway. They just don't receive attention at all, any kind of. It's totally different from the other roles because the golden child gets what he wants without trying. The scapegoat child is busy saying, "Look at me." But the invisible child's voice is lost to the parents' others' focuses. They don't exist. They feel they don't exist. This is what the parent shows to them. So what this child does is that just for self-preservation, this child withdraws into himself. They isolate themselves. They shut down as if they are hiding from the world. They are escaping into their own mind. His withdrawal causes him to miss out on healthy social interaction. They don't have social life. They don't interact with other people. And it's really hard for them to build relationships, to build friendships. If they have friends, they have short-term friendships or no friends at all. They feel like they don't fit in any of the groups. They isolate themselves, as I said. So they find it really difficult to let others into their private world. They just simply isolate themselves. They don't develop healthy connections to other people or society. They become very independent, lonely and isolated, but they are usually self-sufficient. You might think of someone in your life that could have this role. I have met people like this, and they just simply they don't know how to love other people. I used to ask to myself why this person is like this. And it is because they were never taught what love is. They were never taught how to relate to other people, negative or positively. Think that they were not related to their parents. They was not bond with their parents, not even positive or negative. There was no bond, no relation at all. So they just don't know how to relate to other people. And they don't feel that they need that because there was no relationship with their parents. So these are mainly the most important roles, okay? these three roles are given by narcissist parents, and the main purpose is for self-serving needs. They are not meant to benefit the children in any way. So this is the reason why it's so toxic. How do you raise a child in a very healthy way? Is by teaching the child to be himself or herself. Respecting the child's needs, desires, wishes, personality. Of course, as parents, we have to discipline them. We have to teach them a lot of things, but it's so important that you understand your child. I'm not saying that you are narcissist parents, but I observe myself a lot as a mother, and sometimes I try to convince my son to do things in a way that I think is the right way, and then when he behaves differently, I think to myself, so maybe this is the way that he wants to do it. It's so hard, guys, for the ones that are parents. It's so hard to balance your personality and the way that you see life, and just choose from yourself what it is the best for your child and incorporating in your child, but at the same time respecting his personality and his desires. Is such a challenge. Being a parent, oh my God, is such a challenge. I try to do my best. Of course, it's not easy. My son, in my case, he has a very strong personality. He's temperamental, and at the same time, he's extremely sweet and a loving boy. We have a very special relationship, and I learn from him all the time. And finding this balance in how much I am pushing him to do something that I think is the right thing, and how much am I allowing him to be himself. Finding this balance, even though I am an empath, I am not a toxic parent, I am an empath, but it's so hard to find this balance. And the more I learn about all this information, these rules, the better a mother I become. And I see things, of course, there are a lot of information in each of us, in every single person. I know that my son has certain patterns that are coming from other lives of before this incarnation. And there's some work that we need to do together. There's a lot of things that he needs to learn from me to stop those patterns, to release those patterns, to stop that karma. I do understand that, but honestly, guys, it's so hard. It is so hard. It is hard, but it's an amazing challenge, and there's so much to learn. I do believe that every single person has something of narcissism. We all have some kind of narcissism in our personalities. From the moment that you're trying to manipulate another person or a situation, you are behaving in a narcissist way. I'm not saying that we are all narcissists, of course. I'm just saying that we all have some narcissist patterns. And again, the important thing here is becoming aware of yourself. So every time that I try to manipulate my son to do something in the way that I think he should do, and he says, because he's really extremely creative, his ascendant is Cancer, so he's extremely creative. And he says, no, ma'am, I want to do it this way. For example, I will give you an example. We are playing a game, a board game, and he doesn't want to follow the rules. He wants to do it in a different way. I say, no, but this is not the way to play this game. We should play it in the way that the box says. And he says, no, mommy, but why don't we do it this way and that way? And he wants to play the game in a different way. I'm trying to manipulate him and say, no, this is not the right way. But that's what he wants to do. He wants to expand his mind and create a new game with this game that we have on the table. And I understood that I have to allow him to, because if I stop him from creating a new game from that game on the board game on the table, I am stopping him to develop his creativity, to manifest his creativity. So we play the game about, 5-10 minutes, and there's a point that he wants to change the rules. I say, oh, Felipe, but again, we're changing. No, mommy, but let's just change. He wants to change. And I just allowed him. Now I allow him to change the game, When I learned about all this, there was another question that raised to me. And it was, what does make a narcissist parent decide what type of role they give to the child or the children? Because this is another thing. If they are all narcissists, what it is that make them choose the role they're going to give to their children? What is in their mind that says, okay, I'm going to abandon this child. I'm going to be invisible to this child. I'm going to make this child be a perfect image of myself. I'm going to judge this child all the time because that makes me feel superior. What is it? This is another question that I have. I'm going to investigate this because I really would like to know. But what is it that makes the narcissist choose the role that he or she is going to give to the child? It could be that maybe this parent, maybe it is based on different beliefs that these parents may have. I just don't know. So I will try to find out and share it with you. Honestly, it is really so fascinating for me, all these subjects. As you know, I am a big fan of understanding people, personalities, patterns, shadows, traumas, and how that impact in their lives and realities. And because of this, I just keep on investigating and researching. And I also pay a lot of attention. I pay strict attention to my own life experiences every single day of my life. Just trust me, it's every single day of my life. I am paying attention to everything because I want more awareness. I am constantly learning about awareness every single day. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. It's been longer this time. And if you did, and you think that a friend can also get some value from this podcast, I invite you to share it. And of course, just as a reminder of my work, I offer one-to-one sessions, and I also offer women's circles and workshops. They're free and paid. You can attend whenever you want. Just please DM me. You will see my social media accounts below. And also, if there is a topic you would like me to talk about, just again, connect with me and I will definitely create a podcast for you. Have a great week. Love.